Hi Flosstube. My name is Catherine and this is my channel Stitching in Costume. Welcome. If you are returning, I really appreciate you coming back, and if you're new to my channel, this is where I talk about a lot of my creative endeavors, which are stitching, and a little bit of costuming, a little bit of crochet, sometimes quilting, and finishing when I can. Whew, so here we are. I've got a lot to share today. I know it's been a bit of time. It's been, it's a busy time of year for a lot of people, and kids going back to school, and people trying to get those last vacations in, things like that. And for us stitchers, it's just carving out that time to be creative and to stitch. So let's see, we're in September. I had wanted to jump on earlier in the month because I had a big finish. I had my epic finish. The end of August, I finished Anne Tong Uffindell by Hands Across the Sea, and I'm going to share her with you today. I'm also going to talk a little bit about WhipGo. That's always fun to talk about. And, some things that I fully finished. I might share some previous finishes that I have that are fall and Halloween related, and I have a lot of whips that I want to talk about, maybe a little bit of haul. So let's jump right in. I'm going to start with Anne because this is something that has been near and dear to my heart for 3 years now, and this is by Hands Across the Sea, Nicola Parkman, and I got the reissued chart. I didn't get the first one that had Anna and Isabella on it. I was new back into stitching at that time, and I said, "Ooh, that's really pretty. I'll wait on it." And then, of course, it went out of print, and I was devastated. And so when she started talking about reissuing it, I was one of those people that was always making comments. "Oh, please, please, please do it." So when they decided to reissue it, I jumped on. I got it. I got Isabella as well. And I got 36 count vintage pearled barley by Lakeside and all of the silks from the attic. And I really leaned into her, and then I made a mistake on her, and I ended up putting her away for quite a while. And it wasn't until Sampler September rolled around. And if you're not familiar, if you're not on Instagram, Sampler September is something that was started by Senorita Stitches, Veronica, and I was so happy when she kind of got the ball rolling for me. I decided that I was going to pick Anne up in September of, it was 3 years ago. It was probably 2019, 20, 21, 22, like that. And so I picked her up and I pulled out what my mistake was and I restarted her. And she's been 3 years just because I put it down, picked it up, put it down, picked it up. And it wasn't until January of this year that I said I really wanted to push on her. I really, really wanted to finish her by my birthday. My birthday was in July. And so I put that deadline out there for myself, which it was good and bad. It was challenging for me because then I felt like a little bit like it was a chore to some degree. Like I was really having to make progress on it to show people, but it also got me to really lean into it and push through the things that were hard on it for me. And I will talk about that when I show her to you. So I'm going to pull out my finish. Now she's not fully finished. She's not framed. I'm still waiting to do that. I think I'm going to send her off to total framing. I think that's going to be like my Christmas gift to myself. But I did make this fantastic project roll, and it was funny because I was watching a new to me Flosstuber, Karen, the recovering monogamous stitcher, who I can't recommend enough. She's had 2 Flosstubes. She's great. She's really thorough in her explanations of things. And she has just beautiful projects, kind of like me, coming back into cross stitch after doing other things. And so she has a lot of quilts that she does, and she has behind her, and she talks about a quilt at the end of her floss tubes and answers all the questions. So if you have questions for her, she really is thorough and answers everything. She's great, and love her projects. And Karen, if you're watching, you know, you showed your project roll, and she talked about a project roll that she made out of a pool noodle. And I had just done it like the day before. I would watched Vanna Pfeiffer has a tutorial on project rolls. So I watched that, and I said, well, couldn't I just use a pool noodle? And I started to Google that and look through, and I just couldn't find a good tutorial. So I followed Vanna's tutorial, and then instead of using a hard shell kind of mail, what you send things rolled up in the mail, and I can't tube. I used a pool noodle, like just cut it to the length I wanted. And I used some French General fabric. So let me open this. This is where Anne is. I'm hoping she's not wrinkled. I had to make it really, really wide and really, really big because my Anne turned out quite large. I used a 36 count, and she's a big girl. Oh gosh, she's so pretty. I still can't believe it's done. I finished, and when I was watching, I wanted to intentionally have this really blissful last few stitches. So I put on Brenda and Laura, and I stitched the last stitches on Anne Uffindell to them, watching them. So I had my friends in the room with me. But really, this sampler, every time I look at it now, is going to represent so many people, Instagram and YouTube people that, you know, encouraged me, or that I watched while I was stitching. You know, I started to think, you know, oh, this flower really represents Carol the Saltbox Stitcher, or this one is Kim Goldman, you know, and I just, so every time I look at it now, I see different people, and I'm really, so let me pull her out for you. Stop chattering and show it. Here it is. Stand up. And there, in all of her glory, I'm not going to let the sun do its thing. Now I'm going to move around a little bit so that you can see her closer and in more detail. And hey, you know, at this point she's not framed, so if you're stitching her and you're like, uh-oh, you forgot this, that, or the other, please let me know. I think I'm good. I thought I had it all finished, and I did a video when I finished it. My daughter and my husband came in and watched me unroll her and oohed and awed, and I looked at it and went, uh-oh, I forgot a couple. So I had to go back in and add a couple of these doodads, which all of these little satiny stitches were kind of a headache, but let's talk about her a little bit. So I know a lot of people are stitching her right now. They're probably really close to, you know, getting caught up to me. I was one of those people that saved this part for last, all of the satin stitch and all of the over one verse. And I'll tell you, I would rather do over one verse or, you know, motif rather than do this. And let me explain why. I mean, it is beautiful, and I'm so glad I did that satin stitch. But it was kind of a bear, I have to say. And it's not because satin stitch is hard. Padded satin stitch, I padded it with the DMC cottons, and then I used the silk to go over the top of it. But you have to, I had to count out every single outline stitch so that I could make sure I was in the right place for all of the verse to fit in. And it was towards the end, I kind of got a little bit looser with my judgment of, you know, is that exactly three threads over and one thread up and blah 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 blah, but to get the outline. And I just went, you know what, as long as you're getting close enough, go for it. And so my advice, if you're doing this, don't put off all of that satin stitch for the end. And what I would suggest is to at least get from here and move up. I like to do my verses usually from left to right. That's just the way I like to do it. And then once you get this one in place, this little satin stitch and the side and down, I would go ahead, this is just me talking, I'd go ahead and do that verse, fill in that over one verse, and then go back in and do your outline, and it's going to be a lot easier once you know where the verse is going to land, to do the outline of the stitches and to go ahead and pat and fill it in. It might be a little less of a daunting task. Isn't she beautiful though? I was just so happy, and I really want to have her framed in a beautiful frame with museum glass. I have a special place for her, but I do get a lot of sunlight in my stitching room, so I want to make sure I feel like Vanna White. Yeah, so there she is. Oh, so pretty. And so, yes, Christy, Crosshatch Quilts and Olivia Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, I was doing all this quilted, what looked to me like a patchwork vase when I was watching them. So I always see them now when I look at that. So yes, all the called for Veriswa silks on a 36 count vintage pearl barley. I'm going to stop talking about her now. I have a lot to share, but that is my Anne. And I had a little photo shoot yesterday. My daughter came over, and hopefully I'm going to get that done and uploaded in time to share with you on this video, where I talk about where I just dressed up in my 1830s gown. So I have a little Anne. I'm channeling Anne Uffindell to some degree. I need to grow up. No, I don't need to grow up. Okay, so that is my big finish, and I'm very glad she's done, and I'm glad I got her done in time to start a new thing for Sampler September, which I will talk about in a moment. So we're still in September. It is technically September 23rd today. So by the time I get this edited and uploaded, it's going to be much later. It might be after the weekend into the week. We'll see. It takes a long time, and I'm going to yap. So I want to start off by saying thank you to somebody who sent me something out of the kindness of her heart. Janice on Instagram, we had done the great floss drop trade, and I had sent her, she had the cutest floss drops, and so I sent her a message on Instagram months ago saying, oh, please trade with me. And I didn't hear back from her. And then finally, I guess it was about a month ago, she said, hey, I just got this message. I'm so sorry. And I do that sometimes where I just don't check my messages on Instagram or Facebook. I'm like bad that way. And so I said, oh, I don't have any more, floss drops. I need to order more cards so I can trade. And she said, I'll just send them to you. So look what she sent me. These guys here, they're so cute. These are the best. So it says, see Jane, run home. Jane wants to stitch. Hurry, Jane, hurry. And then the other one is, Jane needs thread. Dick runs to the store. Good job, Dick. I love these so much. They are the best. So she sent me like a lot of them. I got 10 and 10. So that will be going on a project soon. Thank you so much, Janice. That was so kind. And when I get my floss drops, which I will be this year, I will be sending you some, because that was just the kindness of, I love this community. Let's talk about WIPGO. So WIPGO, what came up for me for the month of September was to finish a blackbird stocking. Well, I finished all my stockings. They went in the fair. They got a blue ribbon. I have them all here. I'm going to show them to you. So that kind of freed me up, but that's how I display them. I got this coffee mug holder at the thrift store, and it was red already, so I just kind of shoved them on there for now. They're in my sewing room. Aren't they cute? I backed them with the Primitive Gatherings fabric. And oh yeah, they're just so great. So this was a stitch along with Kim Goldman and Merritt Crawford. And it was something that I think they were doing one a month until January or till June, and I kind of fell in, and finally finished them. And I fully finished them so that I can put things in them. It's very easy to do. Great instructions. So love those. So that was one of my whip goes. So because I had finished that, I could, it freed me up to do something different. I'm going to be in and out here. And then the other whip go, okay, this is kind of another epic project of mine. So the other whip go, and I didn't bring down the booklet for it, but I'll just show you what I have. And this is really a little throw out to Katie Strachan. She does some really amazing gold work projects. And before I was really deep diving into cross stitch and Flosstube, I thought I was going to do one of the thistle thread cabinets. That's what stonework cabinets. That's really what I thought I was going to end up doing. And so in order to kind of get my feet wet there, I got something called the Glittering Gentleman's Nightcap, and it's an etui. So you stitch it and then you form it into this 18th century gentleman's nightcap. So they used to have like these really elaborate caps, not to sleep in, but to sit around and, you know, smoke their cigars or drink their brandy and, I don't know, in their banyans, you know, in the 18th century. And so I talked to my husband. I was like, I really wanted to try this kit. It was so expensive. And I really want to do this gold work kit. And he's like, oh, just do it, you know. So I got it. I pulled it out, I was working on it, and I got almost completely done with it. And I was listening to Fiber Talk with Gary, and I think it was Christine at the time, and they were interviewing Vonna Pfeiffer. And they started to talk about Flosstube. And I said, Flosstube? I need some Flosstubes, right? Because I have all this thread. I must have tubes to put the thread in. So I puttered over to Flosstube. I Googled Flosstube and Vonna Pfeiffer, and my life completely changed. I went and went right into cross stitch again. But let me show you the gentleman. So this came up in my whip go. I was smart enough to put it on my board because I know I need to finish this project. It's pretty big and I'm almost done. It's not big, but it took a lot of work. So I'll stop talking and show you. So I have this in a project bag that I made with the Vonna Pfeiffer tutorial, the folded one, and that's how wide it is. Now this is on a frame that is by Judy Odell. I don't know if you know who that is. I don't know if she's still selling them, but she used to sell these frames. It was kind of like America's answer to the Millennium frame, kind of. Her husband made them and made stands. I don't know if they're still doing it, but it's got like these industrial kind of things, and it keeps the tension drum tight. And this has been in this bag for 5 years. Anyway, let me show you where I am on it. So this is all gold work. It is, what is it, silk and silk wrapped pearl, right? And we've got, let me see. So it's all needle lace and gold chain. So I need to go back in and finish all of the gold chain that goes around and all the paillettes that go on. They're like little sequin looking things, but they're gold metal. Look at all that work I did, and it's so sparkly and pretty. And then that is the top of it, and then the band that goes around the bottom is there. And you can see I've got a lot of gold, but the chain stitch goes really rather fast. The thing that takes the most time is all of the needle lace. And this was my first time doing needle lace, so it's not perfect, but hey, it's pretty and beautiful design. I can't recommend that company enough. Thistle Threads, they do some beautiful kits, very thorough instructions with a lot of good videos to help you. They're animated videos that show you how to do stitches, because you know, we can't get into classrooms to just go take needle lace class. I can't. I don't live in a place that I can do that unless I want to drive to San Francisco and stay in a hotel. Anyway, so there are good instructions, and if you're brave, you can just dive in and try it. So what I have to do is to fully finish this. So that came with all of the supplies to do that. There's the red silk and that lines it, and there's other supplies. So this gets cut out. It's a little scary. And then this folds up, and then, because you can see that, so that folds up that way, and then it gets all sewed together, and then I don't know, I have to read the instructions, but then it opens, and inside of it you can keep scissors and things like that. So there it is, Glittering Gentleman's Nightcap. I wanted to show it just because it pulled up on my board, so there's a reason for that. I put it there for a reason, and it came up for a reason. So Sampler September, I don't know that I'm gonna work on it per se that much, but I might. It has to be on a frame, it has to be super drum tight, and it has to, I have to work two-handed on it to do the stitches that go on it. So there's that. So Katie, if you're watching, give me some encouragement. I know she did before. She's like, just finish it. All right, so what else popped up? I'm gonna talk about, what else do I have? Oh, I had a bag, oh, whatever. I'm not gonna worry about it. Prairie Schooler Pumpkin. I did this is a fully finish. I think I showed it last time, this little guy right here that I did on a 25 count Lugana. I did 1/1. Lugana 1/1 is really quite doable. I used DMC, and I finished him into a little disc. Let me see if I can hold this up so you can see it. I don't want to hold up the chart. Put that there behind. There he is. And I did a Vanna Pfeiffer tutorial where she talks about making 2 discs, you know, and finish them both, and then you put them together. So I just made them, you know, I covered the discs, and then I stitched it together around the end, and then I just put this little rick-rack that I had, and pins that I Sharpied black, and a bow, and there it is. And it's teeny tiny, but it's cute. I want to do the rest of this. I just love it. I love everything about that. Now I picked my own DMCs for this. If you go through my Instagram feed, I am Trinkety on Instagram. I'll put that up here. And you can see that I have this finish on my Instagram feed, and it has the DMC flosses on it if you're looking for that. I just wanted something a little bit brighter than what it actually called for. So that was a finish, and I'm going to move on to my whips now. So let me show you really quick. So Sampler September, that's what my September looks like so far. It's been kind of busy, kind of quiet. We went on vacation, so we went camping, and it was kind of an odd camping trip because a lot of the kids now are back in school. So we got there on a Friday, and it was packed, the camping site. We go to Shaver Lake, Camp Edison, really beautiful up there, and the weekend was crazy. We had people all around us, and they were one big group, but they would get together at night, and they were spread out, and it was very noisy and whatever. It was camping. It was fun. We had a nice time. And then Monday, we stayed until, I think we left on Tuesday. It was like a ghost town, Monday and Tuesday. It was so quiet. It was nobody. There was nobody around us. It was a little scary, because you'd have to get up at night and, if you had to go to the bathroom or something, you'd be walking through the campsites. It wasn't far, but it's nighttime, and it was a little eerie, but it was nice. It was super quiet and nice. Took the dogs. They had a blast. Maybe I'll throw some video in the end here of the dogs playing on the beach. So we did that, and I brought stitching with me. I brought a Christmas garden because I thought, oh, well, that would be a good one to stitch when I'm outside because it's a little bit darker fabric. I'm doing it on, let me grab her really quick. Did I bring it here? I know I did. One sec here. No, probably edit. It's my Christmas garden. There it is. Nice bag. I have so many projects. It's hard to keep up with project bags and make project bags for everything. I should start buying them from people because they take a lot of time to make. Kudos to all you people that make them. Christmas garden. I've shown this before. It's out of Home for the Holidays. Love this book. This is where the stockings are from too. And this is where I am in Christmas garden. And what am I doing this on? So these are the flosses. I just picked my own flosses. I'm doing it with Belle Silks on, the 36 count vintage pearled barley by Lakeside. I really love this sampler and I really was so excited to start it. It's been a while. And that's where I am. I got pretty far for camping. So I came down across and over here. I filled in this motif up there, that motif. I started on those carnations and then I worked on this guy and I started over here. And I have plans to do my husband's family's, his paternal side. So that in the where all of the initials go. That's where I am so far. And I'm using Belle Soie, like I said before. It's been a journey. I really love it now. I think the colors are really making me happy. Cranberry is the red. And I do have Queen Bee by Classic Colorworks, and that was in a lot more places than I ended up pulling it out, but I left it in some places. So I've got 5 colors going here, which it is what it is. And I've got 420, and this is a Victorian motto 420. So it's got a tiny bit of variegation, not a lot. And Caterpillar by Classic Colorworks. That's the brown. And then the green is Belle Soie, and it is collard greens. Collards, I think is what they call it. Do I have it over here? Yeah, I do. Collard greens. Let me show it to you one more time, and then yay, I'm getting there. I really love it. I feel like this will definitely be a finish by the end of the year, she said. And so what I've been doing also is I have embraced the 5-day rotation. I'm trying that out for the month of September. I know Olivia Pumpkin Hollow Quilts and Carol Saltbox Stitcher have done the 5-day rotation, and they seem to make fantastic progress. So I thought I would give that a try, and try not to make too much noise down here. So that's what I did. I've been trying to work on things for 5 days and then rotate onto the next thing. Now, this next thing I haven't worked on, but I was watching Needle and Flax, and Rachel was talking about Alice Sarah Dennis, and I started Alice Sarah Dennis a really long time ago, last year. And I love this Mill on the Floss, really love it. And to me, it This was, I think, one of the first historical samplers that I started. And it kind of has that Hands Across the Sea vibe to it, to me. So it seems like they'll be really pretty together. I got all the DMC. Look how long it is, because I'm stitching this on 32 count. So I do the loop start, which I don't love it, but I love the way it looks. So I probably will keep going on this. Well, I definitely will keep going on it. I can't even remember. This was before I was keeping track of what I was stitching on. Did I write it on here? Nah. So it's some mystery linen. Oh, you know what? It's something I dyed myself. So it was a piece of like an antique white, and I just really lightly modeled it with some taupe. Just teeny tiny. I just almost kissed it with it. I didn't really do much at all. I just wanted a tiny, tiny bit of modeling, and that's where I am on her. So I started down here and worked my way up. And, you know, the weird thing, I was so new to doing historical reproductions that I was like, hey, you know, this is not symmetrical. She got there. I think she made a mistake. I think she made a mistake on her chart. So I sent her a message. I think her name is Michelle. I sent Michelle a message and I said, you know, I don't know if you realize this, but the account is different on your border, and you know, it should be like 8 over, down, over, down, you know, and it goes off a bit. Did you mean to do that? She was so sweet. She's like, oh, thank you for stitching. I'm always so flattered when people pick my patterns to stitch. And yeah, that was, I followed what the little girl did. I was like, oh, that's what that means. So, perfect timing. Anyway, so that is Alice Sarah Dennis. If by any chance, Rachel, you're watching, that's where I am on her, in this weird funky bag I made with the really bad vinyl because it was cheaper. Now I know better. If you're gonna do it, use the best products you can, because it will last and you'll be happier. All right, next thing, I'm gonna jump right into some whips here. So this is Harriet Goddard, and this was a stitch along, start along I did with Andrea from Instagram, my friend, and I'll put her Instagram handle up here. And she's done. I'm not done. I'm not near done, but I pulled it out for 5 days, and that's where I am at the top. I moved down, and then what I want to do is come down all the way and then head across so that I know where I can cut my fabric off, because what I don't want to do is cut my fabric all the way down. I know where it goes across and I could do that, but then I have all this down here. So I kind of want to like go all the way down, see where it ends, and then I can, so I have one piece of fabric. Does that make sense? So I really love this, and I'm doing this with the silks that are by Victoria Clayton. Really beautiful silks. Pretty, 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 and they're so lovely to work with. On this 40 count Geo Vanilla by Tropical Stitches. Go check out Tropical Stitches. She has some really beautiful fabrics. I can't say enough great things about the feel of the fabric and just the beautiful light modeling. This has a very like almost vanilla flavor to it. Well, Geo Vanilla, so is the name of it. But last time I went on to look on her website the other day, and she didn't have this particular color, but she's got a lot of other really beautiful colors out there, if you can get a hold of some. That's where I am on the beautiful Harriet Goddard, 1817. And let's move on. So now I've got Was this something that was in my rotation? I don't think it is. I'm not going to show it because it was not. And this. Okay, this is something I love, love, love. Feliz Navidad by Blackbird Designs. I got all the called for flosses. And here those are. And I'm doing this on, let's see here, because I started writing it on a tag. Toasted almond, 36 count, hand dyed by Stephanie with the called for floss. Not very far along, but I did pick her up this month, and I just started on her like a day ago, 2 days ago, to work on. So I just did the first A and B and started on that border that goes underneath there. And again, I'm just going to go back and forth and work my way down that way. Just love this. I love the fabric. I love the flosses. Let me pull them up for you. I've got them on a bunch of cool floss drops. And that's where I am. So, yahoo! And so I have probably another 3 days left on the rotation for this one, this month. And I do a little bit of stitching in hand in the hoops. So I know, who was I watching that talked about that? Just showed a demonstration, it'll come to me, where they showed how they stitch in hand with the hoop. It was Colorado Cross Stitcher, Sherry, talked about that. I'll link that. And she shows how she does it with over one and also just, regular. And I find it to be quite easy. I use those little springy hoops, and so if you don't get the tension too tight, you can, you use the sewing method. And it depends what I'm doing, whether or not I choose to do that. Sometimes I can get really confused on the pattern and make mistakes. So if I can stay focused and do like a repeating pattern or fill in for sure, then it goes a lot faster. Next up, in this beautiful Lori Holt fabric bag that I made, I love her fabric. Oh, all right. Oh, joyous day. Did I work on it? I did. Let's see what I did. This is on, I used the called for flosses. Started it quite a while ago, and then I lost steam on it, so I'm glad it came up on my whip go. Or I put it on there, so they're kind of a mess. What do I have it on? Don't think I made a tag. Yes, I did, but I didn't write it down. Maybe it's on the fabric. Oh, I think it's Heartland. I think well, it's definitely Picture This Plus. I'm pretty sure it's the called for 36 count Heartland. Did she write it down? She didn't. Bad, Catherine. There it is, though. Isn't it beautiful? I worked on the house and I was doing fill-in, and again, just doing that sewing method for the fill-in. There we go. I'm like Sarah now. Threads hanging. That's perfectly fine. I love those flowers. And beautiful, beautiful. I'm not sure how I'm going to personalize it yet. Originally, I thought it would be a wedding sampler. I think I might do that too for my husband and I. How many years this year, Alex? 31, 32? 32 years in November. So that, again, is on a 5-day rotation. Did it work its way in yet? Don't know that it did, but I do love it. Sometimes, I just work on two things during the day. I'll work on something in the morning and something else at night. Here's a bag that was inspired. I made by Blackbird Designs, and it was inspired by Olivia B. and Lori Textilist. This is the only one and only applique I have done. I had big plans. I was going to do tons of it. And, it's kind of fiddly. It takes a bit of time, but boy, is it pretty. In here, we have got, by Scattered Seed Samplers, Catherine Dickinson, 1840. I think this was inspired by Celeste Creates. She inspires me a lot. You'll see. A lot of the things I do, I started because of her. Not very far. I'm using the called for flosses, and let's see what I'm using. I wrote it down here. 36 count Dusty Road by Seraphim. Called for, and I subbed out the red silk. I used Soie Cristal by Karen Silks, 2013. Very pretty red. I wanted it to pop more, and whatever I had called for wasn't really doing that on my fabric. So beautiful, beautiful, and it's a sweet little size. So that is working into rotation this month. Can't remember where it's coming up, but I think it comes up on Sunday or Monday. I do like this 5-day rotation. I feel like I'm at least picking things up. Okay, this is a new start for me, and it is not something I have made a ton of progress on. I posted it on Instagram because I made a mistake on it. Okay, so this is by Sambry Stitches, Becca, and I love this one. It is so beautiful. Mary Calderwood, 1844. I do like the shades that the original is done in and what she charted it as, but I decided to turn it into a red sampler because I wanted something that I could do in the morning, a thread or two, while I sat at the kitchen table with my coffee. That was the idea. So I did that. What am I using? This is Dusty Road by Seraphim as well. And this is a 36 count. And this is the floss I chose. So this is Splendor Silk. I don't know if you've ever used that. It's strandable 12 ply silk, and this is in the color S820. Really bright red. The thing that I'm not nutty about is it's a really beautiful silk, but it's a little fine. So on the 36 count, it feels like the coverage is pretty, but it's not it doesn't really lay on top the way I normally like to see the stitches, but I'm enjoying it. If you're doing this and you're like, hey, mine looks different. Yeah, it probably does because I put the E here. I made a mistake and I wasn't going to rip everything out, so I just added E at the end. But, I think it was the day the beautiful Queen of England passed away. Really heartbroken about that. I know like a lot of people are. So there she is right there. E for Elizabeth. That is my story. So yeah, that one is fun, really lovely, lovely pattern. It's going to go fast, and I'll have a red sampler for my wall by the end of the year. That is going to be pretty simple to frame because it's not going to be huge. So, yay, love that. What's next in my goodie box here? So now I've got, oh boy, do I love this one. This one is what I started the month in. Let me take a little sip here. I love this one and really want to make some progress on it. This is a working copy. I have the original tucked away, but ooh. Now I take pictures and put it on my notes app on my phone so I can go through and highlight things. MMEW 1847, and it's by the Wyndham Collection, Samplers and Such, Rebecca Dory. I found it on eBay. I loved it. I still love it. And I am using, let me see here. Did I write it down? I know I do. I know I did. This is 40 count Lakeside Vintage Light Exemplar. That's how much I love this. I wanted to use my very, very prized Vintage Light Exemplar, and I'm just using all kinds of different flosses. I've got a mix of overdyed cottons and DMC. I don't think there's any silk in here, but that doesn't mean there won't be. I just been using whatever floats my boat. And I'm making good. I made good progress in 5 days. So that's where I am. Let's see here if I can show you. I finished this motif. I finished her. I think she's Lady Justice or Equality or Freedom. I think that's what that motif symbolizes. I added a little cat. Instead of doing another star, I decided to put a cat in. My son's like, could you add a cat? I said, of course, pick a cat out. So we went into the Brenda Key sampler book and he picked out a cat. So that's one of the cats. And then I put, what else did I do? This chicken or bird, all the little motifs, and I started up through the center there. So I'm getting there, man. I am heading up through that center, and then I'm going to be in the alphabet before you know it. And then it's going to be done. There's no border on this, which I love, and it's really, really fun. I love the way the 40 count takes the flosses and how everything really pops off it. And I'm really enjoying personalizing it and just having fun with it. I put a corgi at the bottom because why not, right? Who knows what else I'll add into it? That's a fun thing about samplers, is personalizing them, right? Just little things. You know, it's for us. So I'm the one that's going to be putting my nose up and examining what it looks like. So you can see, I think you can see how far up I am. I'm almost more than halfway. And now it's just that slight border and then moving up to the top. So yeah, I think you could still find this on eBay. I'm not sure if it's in print. I really don't know, I'm sorry. But if you're interested, check it out. Look on eBay and put out feelers. Another good resource is, what is it? Stash Unload Cross Stitch Only on Facebook. And people post things. They go quick, so you got to kind of be on it. But you might be able to put out a feeler for what you're looking for. Let's grab this one. In my Teresa Kogut bag, I'll talk about her in a sec. And this is Stacy Nash Rose Cottage Pin Keep. I pulled this out just a little bit. I don't think it really came up on I didn't really add it into my rotation, but I just kind of picked it up and worked on it because it was all I was feeling like doing. I was so tired one day. I couldn't focus on much of anything. So I just grabbed this and worked on, I finished pretty much this motif here. I've got to go back in and fill in the leaves. I added the little pear at the bottom. And I'm working my way up. And we'll finish that house. And then underneath that, there are a bunch of birds and a lot of blue fill-in. You can see that. So that's where I am. I wonder if I kept the colors. These are, no, I changed them slightly, but not much. They're DMC colors that I used. And I think I might have changed the house. I know this is a 36 count Picture This plus Heartland. No, I used 355 for the house, and I think I used all of the called for DMC. Oh, but I did, this is what I did, is Palmico by Weeks Dye Works. is what I'm putting all the way around the outside. It called for something else. It calls for, I think it was a green, and I decided I wanted something a little stronger looking. And so I put that gray in there, and I might be doing the roof. No, I'm not. The roof is going to be white. Can't remember where else the Palmico might go. And then all of the little motifs that are on across that, where they have, where she has initials and things, I charted out little motifs of, like, I don't know, a snail and, you know, things in a rose cottage, a bee scab or a bee. I don't know. I'm going to put my own little motifs up there and kind of have fun with that, personalize it that way. Since I already put Stacy Nash's initials in it instead of mine, because I was just not paying attention to the chart, and I put SN, and then I went across, and I'm like, oh, I'll put my initial. Wait, what initial was it? Okay, well, Stacy Nash is on it now. I'm not taking her off, so it's all good. Rose Ada Featherstone, I haven't worked on her. I think I pulled her out because I thought maybe if I show her, I'll work on her. This is in my cool Kathy Holden, love Kathy Holden fabric bag I made. It's really wide. And this is Rose Ada Featherstone, and really I've let her drop. I haven't picked her up in a while, and I really, really love her. I got her from Traditional Stitches. No, I'm sorry. Hobby House Needleworks. That's the exclusive that she was from Hands Across the Sea to Hobby House Needleworks. I got the kit, so I got the called for DMC, and I got the fabric, which is, I kept the tag on it, 36 count antique lace linen by Seraphim. Don't you love Seraphim fabric? It's a really pretty fabric. It's almost got a little yellow feel to it, which works well with this particular sampler. Kind of embarrassed to show it, but that's where it is, and I need to pull her out and give her some more love. These are all the flosses, and it's going to be gorgeous. I need to put her on my schedule. She deserves it. Now that Uffindell is completed, I feel like I can really, really bounce around a little bit, but I'm really trying to stick to that 5-day rotation that I'm not sharing. Sometimes I bring things down. Oh, okay. So yeah, okay, this is the last whip I'm going to share, and this is my last sampler for Sampler September, and we've got Jane Stanwix, which I really, really, I like it a lot. That's Jane Stanwix. And I picked out my own colors just because I didn't have the call for flosses. And I was being brave, and I thought, well, I'll just look at the picture, and this is what drew it to me, drew me to it anyway, is how beautiful the colors are and the symmetry, which when I'm actually stitching it, I realize there are mistakes that she made, so it's not actually perfectly symmetrical, which I like. So this is my conversion, which if you're interested, I'm happy to share. I mean, basically the blue is Peacock by Classic Colorworks. It's the Belle Soie. And then I have Huckleberry. I'm not sure where that's going to go in. Red Pear by Weeks Dye Works. Got Tennessee Red Clay by Classic Colorworks. Oh, Crescent. And then Sampler Threads, the Gentle Art Current. The House Color. Everybody's like, oh, that house. The house color is Cupid by Classic Colorworks. And I like it because it's got little bright variegation in it, which makes me happy. And then I also have Hyacinth for the purple, and that is by the Gentle Art. Ginger Snap by Crescent Colors. Weeks Dye Works Pebble. And then a range of other colors. Schneckley is in there somewhere, and that's Weeks Dye Works. Schneckley. Whiskey by Weeks Dye Works, and then the greens. What are the greens? Pine Needles by Classic Colorworks. That seems to be in a lot of things right now that I'm working on. Dried Time by the Gentle Art. And this green is Polywog. So I just kind of grabbed it and threw it on there and went to town. So this is where I am. I got all the way up, all the way through the bottom. The bottom is completed. And now I get to go up and work on the alphabet, which I feel like will go a lot faster, as the alphabets tend to do. It does change up a little bit, change colors here and there, but usually you're stitching 2 letters of the same floss, which seems to be perfect for me. I know I'm doing Feliz Navidad now, and it's 1 color per. So you have to really kind of pick and choose where you're going to put your, if you want to use the same. I don't like dangling flosses, and I don't really like, I do sometimes like put an extra hole in my floss drops, and I'll put the extra loose thread in that. But if I can use it and bump to a different alphabet letter, I like to do that. So I kind of jump around the alphabets sometimes, and that's what I'm going to probably end up doing in Feliz Navidad a lot. But this one I can do, you can see a lot of the alphabet letters are just, there's 2 of them are the same, which is good. So that is Jane Stanwix, and she got pretty much, she got 5 days. So I feel like I made really good progress on her. So I would like to jump into, let's do past finishes. I don't have a ton, but I have a couple of things that I think are good for fall or Halloween. So I wanted to show what I had completed. I've got 1, 2, 3 of them back here. So let me grab a couple of these. So this is by Plum Street Samplers, coming in and out. And it is, oh gosh, what is the name of it? I didn't bring the chart down. I'm sorry, but it's like something like The Visitor, or the because it was referring to the ghost. But if you look at Plum Street, Halloween. And I finished it on a Lugana, and this was before I was really paying attention to what I was working on, but this is definitely a Lugana that I got in a needle workshop somewhere in Central California. I don't think the shop is there even anymore. 32 count. I used 2 strands of floss over 2 threads, and I finished it, which was the bird, all the way through the carriage. And I put it on Instagram saying, oh, how should I finish this? And it was Michelle Bendy Stitchy said, oh, do a drum. And I was new to all of this. I'm like, a drum, it's so big, it'd be a big drum. And then, so it languished in my finished projects for a while. And then I thought, that would be cute as a drum, because it's kind of got movement to it. And you've got this circuit, you can rotate it. So that's what I did. I added this guy here and these 2 pumpkins, and I wanted to make a drum out of it. So that's what I did. That's the bottom fabric. This is a pumpkin thing I found, pumpkin pincushion I found at the thrift store. Put some black velvet stuff on it. This was an applique pumpkin I was going to put somewhere. I don't know. And I just kind of stuck it on there just for giggles. And so this comes out for the fall, and it stays out for quite a while. Love that one. This is another Prairie Schooler. I've showed this before. It's from a different Prairie year. Can't remember which book number it is, but you'll probably know. It's got a pumpkin, and I think it had a turkey on it too. So that's how I finished it, on a little this was where I cut it to stuff it, and then I just put that appliqued leaf, pumpkin leaf on it. Cute. And then I have another Plum Street. This is called Earthly Treasures. And I actually did this in 2018. I had this professionally framed, and that's where it is. This was on a 36 count. This was my first time working on 36 count, my first time doing over 1. I had no idea what over 1 was. And the face, when I was working on the chart, I got to that part and I went, what's going on there? Why are those stitches so little? What the heck? So it was probably a good thing that I did not understand that over 1 could be confusing. I just kind of followed the chart and took my time, and it turned out just fine. So I love this one. I kept it all the called for colors. I did put my initials and the date down here, just in a kind of a quiet color. I love the sentiment. And it's fall or Halloweeny, but I leave it out all the time in my sewing room. It lives there. I have a wall that's a little bit on the darker side. And so this is on there too. So this is by Shakespeare's Peddler, and it is the Jenny Bean Halloween sampler. And I finished it into this box thinking, oh, I'll just put it in here and then I can rotate and put other things in here during the year. Take this out and put something else in, but I just love it. So I left it in. And this stays in year round. And I found these little Halloween ornaments at a local shop and stuck them in there. And I really love it. This is on a 30, it's all the call for flosses. And it looks like a 32 count. I don't have it written down, but I think it's a 32 count Lugana. You know, it's probably the same one that I did not the Prairie Schooler, the Plum Street on. Isn't it cute? So, love it, love it, love it. So those are my fall finishes, just to give you some inspiration. If you're looking for something to do, that one took a while. The Plum Street, that one took, I'm not gonna lie, those take a while, but those go fast. All right, let's see. I'm gonna jump into, hey, I wanna talk about some crochet. Now, I'm not huge I'm kind of into the crochet thing. And I got started on it because I was watching Celeste Creates, and she was talking about Lori Holt's Crochet Along, Granny Square Along, and my sister does granny squares, and she's tried to teach me before. I've never been very good at it, so I decided to give it a try. So I got some I got yarn from the thrift store and learned how to do it. Found a really good tutorial by Erica Arndt, and it was great. There's a lot of really great tutorials out there. Lori Holt has a really good one too on how to crochet granny squares. They're basically all the same kind of thing. You can find variations on the theme, but I wanted to just stick with the easiest that I could find. So that's what worked for me. And then I decided that I was going to graduate into some actual yarn that I bought specifically to do my granny squares with. So I went on to Hobby Lobby because Celeste Creates recommended. I love this cotton, and super soft cotton, and it is 100% cotton, and it's it's not very thick, but it doesn't feel really thin. It's not like something you'd make, stockings out of, which I'd love to make a stocking knit, but not in the plans right now. So I got a bunch of that. I got it in colors that were really fun for me, and I started to do all these granny squares. And then I thought, well, it's easy to pick up, especially if you're sitting there watching TV and you don't want to count something. You can just, easily stitch something or crochet something and watch TV. So I started to do all these crazy granny squares. And the tension, you can see, I'm going to block them, but the tension is completely different. This one is kind of loose, whereas this one, it's the same amount of stitches, it's just look how tight it is. So I'm still kind of learning how to do the granny squares and try to make them more of the same size. I love them. And I added this pewter color. See how little this one is? So I have to kind of go through and cherry pick the ones that I think are going to work together. And so what I did, I thought, well, maybe I'll make a pillow. I'll just keep going and make a big granny square. And I thought, well, can I just make a bigger granny square quilt block? So that's kind of what I am leaning towards now. So I am trying to use the colors that I like and then kind of keep a common thread where I have a white one and then all of them have yellow around them. So I've done a few of those. And they're so fun. They're so fun. They're so easy. And I wasn't paying attention the other day and I did this one and it's got the white around the edges. So I don't know if I'm going to take it off or if I just do more of those and then I'll just have kind of a crazy quilt. Crazy! So highly recommend that Hobby Lobby cotton yarn. And if you're interested in granny squares, those are fun. Let's see. I've got some haul. It's been a month, so I've been acquiring things. I've gone on to eBay and I found some really cool things. I'm going to share a couple with you for really good prices. So the first thing I got, and my friend Susan Stanley showed this, I think, on her Instagram. And I said, oh, I just got that. I got a whole kit on eBay. And it is the Ackworth Friendship Book. And it's, you have like all of these places to have your friend's initials. And I think Susan was going to have her friends stitch it. I don't know that I can be that organized. But it's beautiful. I was like, well, even if I just did something like that and gave it as a gift to somebody. But this came completely kitted. And like I said, it was like somebody just getting rid of stash, so it was a very good deal. I got, where's the, oh, I took the linen out and put it in my linen. I have a box for the different counts of linen, and it was a Lakeside linen. I want to say it was maple sugar. And then these are the flosses that it was kitted with. Milady's Needle. Oh, Milady's Teal by Crescent Colorworks hand-dyed floss, which is beautiful. It would be very pretty. And then the backing fabric. And I think that's backing fabric and fabric for a pouch, I think, that you keep it in. And those are the flosses. So that was, like I said, really reasonable. I think it was like $30. It was, I offered, I can't remember what I offered, but she accepted, and it was like, whoa! And there was something else I got from her. I can't remember what it was. I didn't bring it down. But I thought, well, if I'm getting this one, I'll offer on this other one. And I got that one too. It was another kit for, I want to say it was for a bag of some kind, like a pocket. So that was a little bit of haul. And then I got a piece of murky. I don't have any murky, so this was my first piece. And it's from, 123. And it's pretty. It's a 40 count. And it's kind of stiff, but I guess that's just the way that is. And now I know what murky looks like. Probably not what I was expecting, but I really like it. And I feel like I want to put a Halloween small on it. To that end, I am a member of Teresa Kogut's Patreon. If you don't know what Patreon is, you can go online. It's where you sign up for people's accounts. So like Teresa Kogut is a designer, and so you can pledge $8 a month or less or more, depending. You know, she has different levels. They call them tiers. So you can go on Patreon and be a patron and support the artist. And then in return for your monthly tithing donation, you get some offer freebies every month. And she does a lot. So I am tier 3. No, I'm tier 2. And it is the best. So you're also able to go into her secret shop that is just for her patrons. And so I did that, and I got, well, first of all, I showed this last time, but I got this as a free chart. And this was for patron tier 2, 3, and 4. Isn't that cute? Stitchin' Witches. And I thought even just doing one as a small, so cute. And that's a good thing about Teresa Kogut's patterns. You feel like you can just pick out so many good little smalls. I had to buy this. I love it so much. Now this is the older version where she had this all filled in, but you can get the one that doesn't have the Halloween all backfilled and it's just open. And that one's really pretty too. And yes, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drums, right? If you don't want to do all of it all at once and you want to have smaller finishes, make some drums, or you can just pick out a motif. I kind of feel like doing this guy on my Murky. I think he's so cute with his striped shirt. Or the cat. I love this cat. I love this house. I mean, they're just, oh, so good. So that lives in my Teresa Kogut bag that I made. And I need to do a Halloween star. Okay, another piece of haul. Kim Goldman made me do it. I think it's the hashtag we're using, right? Frances Poole, which is beautiful. A lot of people have done Frances Poole, but she showed her Frances Poole, and every time I see it, I love it. I would like to do it on a lighter fabric and just let the colors sing. And the design, it's so beautiful. And this is it's a reproduction by Brenda Gervais. I don't have the fiber or the flosses or anything to do it on yet, and this I got a couple months ago, but I forgot to show it on my last one. I had to get it, and again, it was on eBay and somebody was blowing out their stash. I just lucked into finding it. I've wanted this for a long time and love every single project in here. I mean, so good. All of the beautiful red samplers they have and reproductions and pin pillows. This one's good with the patchwork at the bottom. I mean, even as a resource for alphabets, it's good to have books like this. I also went on, when the Queen passed away, I wanted to do some kind of commemorative thing that I would, for me, just to remember that, to mark that. You know, she's been in the fabric of our life for my entire life. And Michelle, Mama Loves You GB, has a freebie on her Instagram. You can go check it out. Go to her Instagram page. I will put it here. And you have to go through, but you'll see where she has this chart as a freebie. And that's where you get it, is on Instagram. I'm just going to kind of flash it here because that's the chart. It's the Royal Cipher. And you can pick any colors you'd like. And so I have plans to do that. That is on my list of wanna-dos. This is number 1. This is numero uno on my list of wanna-dos. Harriet Elizabeth Coe by Brenda Gervais. Yes. I have been drooling over this on Carol Saltbox Stitcher's wall ever since I started watching her. And I love it so much. Every single time I watch her, I think, why don't I have it? So I finally I got it. And I'm waiting on all the flosses. I did start to pull some flosses that will work for it, but then I got tired. I mean, pulling flosses and trying to match, and can be a lot of work, and I might still change out colors once I get the floss. But I finally ordered all the flosses. I went on to 123 Stitch because I don't have a local shop I can just go into. There's no DMC that I could see equivalent to her flosses. So she just has the flosses that she used that you use those, or you make your own DMC conversion. But I didn't see a DMC conversion, and I looked online and just didn't see anybody had posted one, which doesn't matter because I went on and ordered the flosses anyway. So those are coming, and I am looking forward to starting this. And I will probably use my coveted needle and flax dirty teacup in 36 count, and that is gorgeous. So I think it will work for that. Well, what wouldn't work on that? That is just beautiful. And I've had this for a while. I think that was one of the first pieces I got from Needle and Flax. Oh, another Teresa Kogut freebie for Tiers 2, 3, 4 was Bristol Haven. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, she's just so good. All of her charts are just glorious. Colors, everything about them. And she does a lot of DMC. So it's easy for me to get those flosses. Again, this was on eBay. Somebody was getting rid of it, getting rid of their stash. I don't know when I'm going to start it, but I love it so very much. I love the giant pear, of course, and I really, really love those alphabets. This is G. Leger, 1898, and Reflet de Soie. I've never done a Reflet de Soie. Maybe not this year. Maybe New Year's. Maybe in January. I really, really love it. Another chart I had to pick up was Florence Law, 1899, and this is by Hands Across the Sea. And just a sweet little sampler that says waste not, want not. Boy, is that true. That's a perfect sampler for now. I also got on 123. This is nothing to write home about, but I wanted to get some more soie de I can't speak now. I can't talk now. That one, the soie. Just look at it. It's red, and I just thought it was a pretty red, so I got that. And then I got a piece of 40 count white Zweigart. Thinking I don't know if I want to stitch on white. I haven't stitched on white in a while, but a red and white, that might be really quite pretty. But I also thought it might be fun to dye, to try dyeing. It's really hard now, I feel like, and I was watching Fox and Rabbit yesterday, and they were talking about how hard it is getting Zweigart. The production has slowed down. They're having trouble getting people to make the linen, and it's hard for them to get. So I kind of feel like if I can, I don't want to start dyeing a bunch of fabric, but if I can supplement here and there with something that is, I get as close as I can to like a vintage light exemplar, that would be nice to be able to have that in my pocket to know how to get that color. So I have a plan to do a dyeing tutorial. If anybody is interested, I will be doing that probably within the next couple of weeks, and it's not going to be long. And what I'm going to be doing is taking pieces of not stitching linen, but linen, white linen, and because it's a lot easier to find and it's very affordable to get a big piece of white linen and use it to practice your dyeing. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to be filming it and trying my best. I've not done a lot of tutorials, but I'm going to try to learn how to do that. I have a phone that's good for that. So be looking for that. And I'll post it on Instagram. And my next video, if and when I get it done, I will definitely put the information if I do that. I also got this on eBay. I got a bunch of things. So somebody was getting rid of a lot of different things. Sampler antique needlework. I really liked this one. That cover photo is really pretty. And this has got a bunch of different samplers. Some of them are reproductions and some of them are new. This was like a 1989 publication. Really pretty things in there. It's got great, it's a really nice booklet. Very sturdy. Oh, I like this one, the Blossom sampler right there. Hope I'm showing you correctly. Really pretty. And on darker linen, boy, for the 80s, that was kind of unusual, right? And the first one, Now Abideth, this one is really pretty. And doesn't look too terribly hard or long, but so there's old things, there's new things, band samplers, there's some fractional stitches. This house sampler, this is what's on the front. I'm trying not to show the chart. And it's really beautiful. I really like it. I might change the color of the house. But I love the alphabet. I love the bird. The kind of wonkiness of where the alphabet, how it ends up and how the motifs land. And it's really pretty. Yeah, so that's a good one. And I got Sampler and Antique Needlework. I'd never had any of these, and there's a lot of really great things in here. Oof. Ruth, these are all reproductions. Passmore Sampler, 1804. That was gorgeous. The pumpkins. Let's see what else I'll show you. Sarah Jaggard Sampler, 1850. Yet not have we whereof to boast as wiser than the rest. He is not wise who knows the most, but he who lives the best. Living well used to be my motto. Living well is the best revenge. That's not meant to be mean. I mean revenge. It's like, and what does living well mean? Living well means not being upset about people in your past. You just kind of go on and live your life and hope they live theirs. There. That's my idea of revenge. Be well and move along. So there, that one is pretty fine lines. Another Sampler Antique Needlework, and it's got this cool red sampler on it. Don't want to be getting into, oh, an hour and a half. This will never upload. I'm gonna have to edit. Okay, anyway, couple more. So, go on eBay and start to dig around and see if you can find things like that. I am going to call it a day. It has been fun. I hope this uploads. It might take 3 or 4 days to upload, maybe more. But I love you, and I'll be back sooner than I was last time. So I don't take that long. But yeah, we'll check in about 3 weeks or so, and I'll have more progress on my samplers. I hope you're having a great September and looking forward to fall like I am. Really looking forward to it. And be well. Stitch all the things that make you happy, and many peaceful hours with your needle and thread. Bye, everybody.